Hello there, welcome back to my channel, and this time it's the turn of BrickHeadz retiring in 2025. Now obviously people know the difference between BrickHeadz and that they're a lot better investments than my last video, which was Friends. Right, so the first one that is hopefully retiring this time is 40547, the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader 1799. Now that set has been in, out, shake it all about. It's been, you know, I don't know, it's on the retirement, then it's not for the retirement, then it's on the retirement, so let's see what happens with that one. Anyway, that has got an expected annual increase of 10%. But I have explained before in my other videos about the retirement pop, and basically the retirement pop is when it initially first retires, that kind of first few months they expect the value of it to shoot up. That's why they call it a pop, if you know what I mean. So it shoots up to a certain level and then it sort of comes back down again and levels back down again. So the 10% is when it's leveled off, but the retirement pop for that particular set is actually around 21%. So for those people who like to kind of do a quick flip or something like that, literally buy it, and as soon as it retires everybody gets FOMO and goes, oh no, I didn't get that set, I need to get it. So the value goes up, and that's where you could make, I don't know, maybe 10-15 pounds per set. Quickly do that and then, you know, move on to the next thing, because eventually the value will start coming down and then come back down to the 10%. But obviously people know what happened with the Lord of the Rings BrickHeadz. You know, as soon as they retired, they just shot up to £50 and that kind of thing. So just something to be aware of. So I'll go with all of these have got different pops, so I'll kind of explain it as I go. But this set is actually got an expected good investment. On Amazon, they're being sold for between £27 and £54. On eBay, sold for 27, and Bricklink values it at 24. So Bricklink already values it over the MSRP, and I think, if I remember rightly, all of the valuations for the BrickHeadz are above MSRP from Bricklink, so that's a good sign. Yeah, so that particular set has sold 23,569 sets. Next one is 40668, Captain America and Red Hulk 1799. Now that's got an expected annual increase of 8%, but with a retirement pop of 15%. That's also got an expected good investment, and at the moment there's none being sold on Amazon. They're obviously stashing it away, like I keep saying, waiting for the value to go up and then bring them back out to sell. On eBay it's sold for 24, and Bricklink is valued at 20, and that's sold 1,384 sets. Next one is 40669, the Iron Man Mark V 999. That's also got an 8% expected increase with a pop of 15%. That's also got an expected good investment. Amazon it's being sold for between £16 and £26, and on eBay it's sold for £20. On Bricklink it's valued at 11, and it's sold 3,684 sets. Next one is 40670, the Iron Spider-Man 999. That's got an 8% increase with a 15% pop, and that's got an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £16 and £23. On eBay it's sold for £16, and Bricklink is valued at £12, and that's sold 5,751 sets. Next one is 40671, the Potted Groot 999, and that's also got an 8% expected annual increase with a retirement pop of 15%. It's also got an expected good investment, and there's none being sold at the moment on Amazon. On eBay it's sold for £19, and Bricklink is valued at £12, and it's sold 5,826 sets. Next one is 40675, that's Clone Commander Cody 999. That's got a 10% annual increase with a retirement pop of 21%. That's also got an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £14 and £20, On eBay it sold for £18 and Bricklink values it at £14. But it sold 11,844 sets. Next one is 40748, the Batman 18-1, $24.99. Terrible idea. 9% expected annual increase with a retirement pop of 16%. That's got an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £34 and £46, and on eBay it's sold for £34. So there's a £10 increase there, or £10 profit. Obviously you're going to try and buy it at 20%, 30%, whatever you can, so a little bit more to profit. Bricklink is valued at 21 and it's sold 4,075 sets. Next one is 40749, the Joy, Sadness and Anxiety, $17.99. Now that's only got a 5% expected annual increase with a retirement pop of 12%. That's got an expected good investment. On Amazon it's being sold for between £25 and £49, and on eBay it's sold for £26, and on Bricklink it's valued at £24, and it's sold 3,106 sets. Next one is 40750, the Wednesday and Enid, $17.99. That's got an 8% expected annual increase with a retirement pop of 15%. That's got an expected good investment. On Amazon there's none being sold yet. Well, there wasn't when I did my research. There might well be now, but anyway. eBay is sold for 27 and Bricklink is valued at 20. And that's sold 1,711 sets. Next one is 40792, the Dumbo, that's $9.99. That's got a 5% expected increase with a retirement pop of 12%. That's got none for sale yet on Amazon, same as before, same story before, people are keeping hold of it. eBay sold for 21, which is a reasonably good indication because obviously £21, that's double the price. Bricklink is valued at 12. And it's sold 1,959 sets. Next one is 40793, Tom and Jerry. That's $13.49. Obviously you pay a bit extra because it's a 2-pack, but there's one little small one, so there's a bit in between. 8% annual increase with a retirement pop of 15%. That's got an expected good investment. On Amazon there's none for sale again. On eBay sold for 31, which is a fair markup from $13.49. You know, if you bought that for 20% off, then you're doing all right out of that. Bricklink is valued at 17, which sold 2,542 sets. The next one and the last one for this video is 40798, the Red Panda. Is that May or Mai? I don't know how to pronounce it. $9.99. That's got a 5% expected annual increase with a retirement pop of 12%. On Amazon, I can only find one for sale, which was £24. On eBay, it's sold for £20, and Bricklink is valued at £11, and it's sold 914 sets. So that concludes the Minecraft that's retiring in 2025. My next video will be Minecraft. Now, I'm almost at the end of what's retiring in 2025. I'm contemplating what to do for my next set of videos. I have been looking at possible comparisons to what's retiring this year. I've been looking into the information of what's kind of like, say for instance, I don't know, say like the camper van or whatever, looking back at the camper van from previous ones and seeing how that's done, so to see whether you can give you an idea of whether buying the camper van this year would be a good idea. But I've got to try and do some research into the data to see whether there's enough comparisons or sets that do compare, because obviously Lego make new sets, so it might be something that they've never made before, so there isn't a comparison. So I don't know, I've tried to look into the research, but I need to do a bit more research to see whether it's viable to do a video or not. So we'll see how it goes, but there's only a few more themes. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.